The chandelier light fractured across the ballroom like shattered glass from a champagne flute no one dared to drop. And in that instant, Anna felt the weight of every fabricated smile she had ever worn press against her ribs until breathing became a betrayal. Ethan's hand tightened on hers, his voice booming through the microphone as he toasted their empire. But her gaze snagged on the woman slipping through the crowd, Riley. Eyes like storm clouds promising rain. The screen behind the podium flickered to life unbidden, projecting not corporate triumphs but stolen moments. Anna's laughter in a dimly lit loft, Riley's fingers tracing the curve of her spine, the truth uncoiling like smoke from a fire they had both tried to smother. Anna stood frozen amid the swirl of black ties and sequined gowns, the air thick with the scent of orchids and overpriced ambition. The video looped silently on the massive screen, a montage of fragments that pieced together the life she had buried deep. A rainy afternoon in Riley's Brooklyn walk-up, their bodies tangled in sheets that smelled of fresh coffee and unspoken promises. A late-night strategy session in the boardroom where Riley's hand lingered too long on Anna's knee under the table. Blueprints of the company's future scattered like confetti from a failed party. Gasps rippled through the crowd, a wave crashing against the polished facade of Harrington Tech's annual gala. Ethan's face, usually a mask of unflappable charisma, drained to the color of ash as he stared at the projection, his grip on the microphone slackening until it nearly slipped from his fingers. She wanted to scream, to shatter the illusion with the force of all the years she had spent perfecting it, but her voice caught in her throat like a hook in silk. Instead, she turned, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor as she wove through the throng of executives and socialites who parted like the Red Sea before a reluctant Moses. Whispers followed her. "Did you see that? Anna Harrington, the Ice Queen, melting for some shadow consultant." Each one a needle pricking at the armor she had forged from boardroom battles and bedroom deceptions. The elevator doors slid open with a chime that mocked her racing pulse, and she stepped inside alone, the mirrored walls reflecting a woman she barely recognized, hair slightly disheveled from the evening's careful styling, lipstick smudged from a kiss she had stolen in the coatroom earlier that night with the very woman who had just unraveled her world. As the doors closed, sealing her in a silver coffin of solitude, Anna pressed her forehead against the cool metal and let the tears come, not the polite ones she reserved for eulogies at funerals of colleagues she never truly knew, but the raw, heaving sobs that clawed their way up from the hollow space where her heart should have been. Riley. The name echoed in her mind like a refrain from a song she could not shake, a melody that had started as a whisper in the corridors of ambition, and swelled into a symphony of stolen glances and fevered touches. It had begun 3 years ago, in the sterile fluorescence of Harrington Tech's Innovation Lab, where Riley Voss, brilliant, unapologetic, with a mind like a scalpel and eyes that saw through corporate bullshit like it was tissue paper, had walked in as a freelance strategist hired to salvage their flagging AI division. Anna remembered the first meeting vividly. The way Riley had leaned against the conference table, arms crossed over a faded Ramones t-shirt that clashed gloriously with the pinstripes of the room, and dismantled their projections with a single question. Why build walls when bridges pay better? Her voice had been low, laced with the faint drawl of her Austin roots, and Anna had felt it vibrate through her like a tuning fork struck just right. Ethan had laughed it off, clapping Riley on the back with that boyish charm that masked his own secrets. But Anna had lingered after, poring over Riley's notes under the guise of due diligence. That was the night they stayed late, the city lights bleeding through the floor-to-ceiling windows like veins of gold, and Riley's fingers brushed hers over a spreadsheet accidental. Or so they told themselves then. From there, it snowballed. Late nights turned into dawn choruses of shared takeout and dissected dreams, Riley's ideas breathing life into Anna's visions for the company until Harrington Tech wasn't just surviving, it was soaring. Stock prices climbed. Investors salivated. And Anna rose with it. From VP of Operations to co-CEO alongside Ethan, her husband of 7 years. The perfect power couple. The media called them. Ethan with his golden retriever energy and visionary pitches. Anna the steady force. The one who made the magic happen behind the scenes. But the scenes were never truly behind. They were stolen. Hidden in the alcoves of hotel suites during conferences in San Francisco. In the backseat of town cars idling outside galas in Chicago. In the quiet fury of Riley's apartment where the world outside ceased to exist. Anna loved Ethan. In the way one loves a brother or a co-conspirator, fiercely, platonically, with the understanding that their marriage was a shield against the prying eyes of Wall Street and Washington. He had his own shadows. A string of discreet affairs with men who understood the game. And together they had built this fortress of facade. But Riley was no shadow. She was the light that seeped through the cracks, illuminating the truth Anna had long suppressed, that she craved the curve of a woman's hip, the softness of lips that knew how to yield and demand in equal measure, the electric charge of a gaze that stripped her bare without judgment. The elevator dinged open on the penthouse level, and Anna stumbled into the hallway, her clutch spilling lip gloss and keys onto the carpet. She knelt to gather them, fingers trembling. When her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You deserve the truth. Now live it. Her breath hitched, a sob escaping as she clutched the device to her chest. The leak wasn't just betrayal, it was a gift wrapped in barbed wire, forcing her to confront the woman she had become versus the one she was meant to be. Downstairs, the gala devolved into chaos. Ethan fielded questions from reporters who had materialized like vultures. His smile a brittle thing as he spun the narrative. A hack? A disgruntled ex-employee? Nothing more than digital sabotage. But Anna knew better. Riley had access, too much access, woven into the fabric of their success like a thread that, once pulled, unraveled the whole damn sweater. Why now? After the merger with Vertex AI that had cemented their dominance, after the whispers of a Nobel-level breakthrough in ethical algorithms that Anna had championed with Riley's quiet genius, the questions clawed at her as she unlocked the door to the apartment, the space vast and echoing with the absence of life. She poured a glass of scotch, Ethan's brand, peaty and unforgiving, and sank onto the leather sofa overlooking Central Park. The leaves a riot of autumn fire against the night sky. Memories flooded her. The first time Riley had kissed her. Tentative and then fierce. Against the kitchen counter in that Brooklyn loft. Flour dusting their clothes from a half-hearted attempt at pie that neither ate. I see you, Anna, Riley had whispered, her breath warm against Anna's neck. Not the wife. Not the exec. You. And Anna had believed her. Had let herself fall into that seeing. That being seen. Until the weight of the world pulled her back. Hours blurred into a haze of amber liquid and regret. By dawn, her phone was a battlefield of notifications. Board members demanding emergency calls. Tabloids splashing headlines like Harrington heist. CEO wife's secret affair sink stock? But amid the debris, another message from Riley. Meet me at the bridge. Midnight tomorrow. We end this or we begin. Anna's thumb hovered over the reply button, heart pounding with the rhythm of a life teetering on the edge. She was 35. At the pinnacle of a career forged in fire and fabrication. Married to a man who was more mirror than mate. And in love with a woman who had just set her world ablaze. What came next? Surrender. or the fight of her life. The sun crested the skyline, painting the room in reluctant gold. And Anna rose, squaring her shoulders as if for battle. She had built empires from code and compromise. She could rebuild this too. Or shatter it entirely. The choice, for the first time in years, felt like hers alone. Anna spent the day in a cocoon of conference calls and crisis management. Her office a bunker of glass walls that offered no real protection from the storm raging outside. Ethan paced the length of the room, his tie loosened like a noose half removed, barking orders at PR firms while stealing glances at her that held more sorrow than anger. We spin this, Anna. Deep fate. Rival sabotage, whatever it takes. His voice cracked on the last word. And she nodded, murmuring agreements that tasted like ash. All while her mind wandered to the bridge Riley mentioned, the Brooklyn Bridge. That iron-veined artery pulsing between Manhattan's gloss and Brooklyn's grit. Where they had walked once under the guise of brainstorming, hands brushing in the fog-shrouded dawn. By evening, the apartment felt like a mausoleum, the silence broken only by the distant wail of sirens that seemed to echo her inner turmoil. Anna dressed carefully, not the armor of power suits, but something softer, a cashmere sweater the color of storm clouds, jeans worn soft from too many clandestine evenings, boots that grounded her against the pull of uncertainty. She left a note for Ethan on the kitchen island. Need air. Back late. No lies. For once. Just the vast expanse of truth between the lines. The subway ride to Brooklyn was a descent into the underbelly of the city. Fluorescent lights flickering like faulty memories. Bodies pressed close in an anonymity that chafed against her isolation. She emerged into the chill October air. The bridge looming ahead like a promise laced with peril. Its cables strung with lights that twinkled mockingly against the Hudson's dark waters. Riley was there, silhouetted against the span, hands shoved deep into the pockets of a leather jacket that smelled faintly of rain and rebellion when Anna finally approached. You came. Riley's voice was steady, but her eyes, those hazel depths flecked with gold, betrayed the tremor. The fear masked as resolve. She looked older in the bridge's sodium glow. Lines etched deeper around her mouth from nights spent wrestling code and conscience alone. Anna stopped a few feet away, the wind whipping her hair across her face like a veil she longed to tear away. You leaked it. Our life. Our everything. Why? Riley, after all we built. Why burn it down? Riley stepped closer, the space between them crackling with the electricity of unfinished sentences. Because watching you play the perfect wife was killing you, Anna. Piece by piece. I saw it in the way you flinched at Ethan's touches, the way your smiles never reached those eyes of yours. I helped build that company. Yes, nights blurring into days, pouring my soul into algorithms that made you shine while I stayed in the dark. But I couldn't watch you dim anymore. The words landed like punches, each one true and bruising. Anna wrapped her arms around herself, the cashmere no match for the cold seeping in. You think this frees me? The board's circling. Stocks are tanking. And Ethan, God, he doesn't deserve this exposure. Our marriage was a pact. Riley. Mutual survival. And you. You were the one real thing. Riley's laugh was bitter, carried away on the wind. Real? We hid in shadows. Anna. Stolen hours in lofts and loading docks, whispering I love yous into pillows so no one would hear. I leaked it because I love you enough to stop hiding. To force your hand. Anna's knees buckled, and she sank onto a bench overlooking the river. the metal biting through her jeans. Riley joined her. Close but not touching. The heat of her body a siren call. Memories cascaded. Their first real date. Disguised as a client dinner at a hole-in-the-wall taqueria in Austin during a tech summit, where Riley had confessed her own scars, growing up in a conservative oil town, coming out to parents who chose silence over celebration, building walls of wit and work to keep the world at bay. Anna had shared fragments then. The ache of her own awakening in a Vermont college dorm. Fumbling kisses with a roommate that ended in tears and transferred credits. Burying her desires under layers of achievement until Ethan's proposal felt like safety, not surrender. I was scared, Anna admitted, voice barely above the lap of water below. Of losing the company, the life we clawed for. Of what it means to choose you over the script everyone wrote for me. Riley's hand found hers then. Fingers interlacing with a gentleness that belied the storm in her touch. And now? The script's in tatters. What do you choose? They sat like that for hours. The bridge emptying of tourists until it was just them and the ghosts of what might have been. Riley spoke of the leak's mechanics, an anonymous drop to a journalist's friend. Timed for maximum impact. No traces leading back except the intent blazing in her eyes. Anna listened. Anger ebbing into a weary understanding. The kind that comes from loving someone flawed and fierce. As midnight tolled from distant clocks, they walked the span's length. Shoulders brushing. Words weaving a fragile bridge of their own. Back in Manhattan, Dawn found Anna in Ethan's study. Nursing coffee gone cold while he slept off the scotch they had shared in halting conversation the night before. He had woken once, eyes red-rimmed, and pulled her into a hug that was all bone and brotherhood. We'll fix this, he'd murmured. Or we won't. But whatever comes, your family. Anna. Always. No accusations. Just the quiet unraveling of their shared deception. A divorce whispered like a benediction rather than a bomb. The board meeting that afternoon was a coliseum of glares and gritted teeth. Projections flashing red like arterial spray. Anna stood at the head of the table, voice steady as she outlined contingencies, transparency campaigns, internal audits, a pivot to vulnerability as strength. Riley's ideas, repurposed without credit, saved them again. Whispers of admiration mingled with suspicion. But Anna held her ground, chin lifted. The weight of Riley's gaze a phantom presence across the miles. That evening, alone in the apartment's vastness, Anna scrolled through old photos on her phone, gala shots with Ethan's arm around her waist, candid snaps from Riley's camera of sun-dappled mornings in Central Park, their faces blurred in motion but alive with something untamed. A call came, Riley, voice soft as fog. I'm leaving the city. Freelance gig in Portland. Unless, Anna echoed. The word a lifeline tossed into churning waters. She booked a ticket that night. Not to Portland, but to Vermont. To the small cabin her family had owned since she was a girl. Nestled in the Green Mountains where autumn painted the world in fire. A retreat. She called it to Ethan, who nodded with knowing eyes. Space to breathe. To decide. The drive north was a meditation in motion. Highways giving way to winding roads flanked by flaming maples and the hush of falling leaves. Anna arrived as dusk settled. The cabin's wooden bones creaking a welcome. The air crisp with pine and possibility. She built a fire in the stone hearth. Flames dancing shadows across walls lined with books her mother had loved. Feminist tomes and poetry collections that spoke of women loving women in codes her younger self had only half deciphered. On the second night, Riley arrived unannounced, gravel crunching under tires that hadn't been there before. She stood on the porch, duffel bag slung over her shoulder, hair windswept from the hall up from the city. "You said unless," she said simply. And Anna pulled her inside, the door shutting with a finality that echoed through her bones. They didn't speak much that first night, bodies finding familiar rhythms in the flicker of firelight, hands mapping territories long claimed but rarely explored without haste. Riley's skin was warm, freckled across collarbones like constellations Anna traced with lips and fingertips, eliciting gasps that were prayers and pleas. It was slow, deliberate, a reclaiming not of power, but of presence. Afterward, tangled in quilts that smelled of cedar and smoke, Anna whispered the truth she had hoarded, the fear that success had cost her soul, the guilt of loving Riley while tethered to Ethan, the dream of a life unscripted. Riley listened, fingers combing through Anna's hair, her own confession spilling like wine from an overturned glass, the jealousy that had festered watching Anna's public triumphs, the ache of being the architect without the acclaim, the terror that love like theirs was too wild for the world's narrow lanes. Dawn brought coffee on the porch, mug steaming in the chill, the mountains rolling out like a canvas of redemption. "We go back," Anna said finally, voice threaded with resolve. "Face the wreckage. But together. No more shadows." Riley's smile was sunrise breaking, tentative but true. They drove south as partners, hands linked over the gearshift, the city's skyline rising like a challenge they were ready to meet. Anna felt the stirrings of something new, not just love, but liberation. The kind that demands you shed skins grown too tight. Returning to New York felt like stepping into a ring with ghosts as opponents, each corner of the city holding echoes of the life Anna had half-lived. The headlines had mellowed from frenzy to fascination, Harrington scandal, from sham to shine, but the undercurrent of judgment lingered. In sidelong glances at coffee shops and terse emails from allies turned fair-weather friends. Ethan greeted them at the apartment with a bottle of bourbon and blueprints for a new chapter, an open letter to the press, announcing their amicable separation and a rebrand of the company around authenticity and tech. "You too," he said, pouring generously, his eyes crinkling with that old mischief. "You're the real deal." About time the world caught up. No bitterness. Just the quiet pride of a man who had played his part without resentment. His own truths now free to surface in therapy sessions and tentative dates with a gallery owner from Soho. Riley integrated slowly, her freelance status a buffer against the corporate glare. But Anna insisted on formalizing it, a corner office with a view of the East River. Title of Chief Innovation Strategist. The credit long overdue. The announcement sent ripples, skeptics murmuring about nepotism, but the numbers silenced them. Riley's vision for adaptive AI, one that learned not just data but empathy, launched to acclaim. TED Talks and features in Wired that painted her as the quiet revolutionary. Anna watched from the wings, pride swelling like a tide, the ache of past invisibility easing with each spotlight Riley claimed. Their life together wove into the warp of the city's rhythm. Mornings in a sunlit kitchen Anna had renovated with wide windows and herb pots on the sill. Riley brewing pour-over while humming old folk tunes from her Texas girlhood. Evenings at indie theaters in the village, hands clasped in the dark as stories of fractured hearts unfolded on screen, mirroring their own mended ones. Intimacy deepened, no longer rushed but ritualistic, baths drawn with lavender oil, where Anna rested her head on Riley's chest, listening to the steady drum that anchored her, lazy Sundays in bed, bodies languid and laughter-filled. exploring the poetry of touch with the patience of those who had once hurried against clocks. Yet shadows lingered, not from without but within. Anna woke some nights drenched in sweat, dreams replaying the gala's unraveling, the crowd's eyes like lasers dissecting her soul. Imposter, they whispered in her subconscious. The voice of her father, a stoic engineer from Chicago's steel mills who had taught her to build walls, not bridges. He had died 2 years prior, never knowing her truths, and the grief resurfaced now, a riptide pulling her under. Riley held her through it, murmuring affirmations like incantations. You're enough. You've always been enough. The conflict crested unexpectedly, a month into their public union, at a fundraiser for LGBTQ youth in Chelsea. The ballroom buzzed with rainbow flags and raw hope, speakers sharing stories of coming out amid hostility that twisted Anna's gut with recognition. Riley shone, her speech on inclusive tech drawing tears and thunderous applause. But Anna faltered backstage, cornered by a reporter with a velvet-gloved knife. Ms. Harrington, how does it feel to trade marital stability for scandal? Was the leak a cry for help? Or just ambition's casualty? The word struck deep, reopening fissures. Anna fled to the rooftop terrace, the city sprawl a glittering accusation below, her breath coming in sharp bursts. Riley found her there, concern etching her features. Talk to me, she urged, pulling Anna into an embrace that smelled of citrus and courage. It's not enough, Anna confessed, voice fracturing. The leak freed me, but it didn't erase the years I spent doubting. What if I'm still performing? What if loving you is just another role? Riley pulled back, eyes fierce. Then we stop the show. Go back to Vermont. Or Austin. Or nowhere. But it's not a script. It's the messiest, most real thing I've ever known, they argued then. Words hurled like stones across the chasm of fear. Riley accusing Anna of clinging to control, Anna lashing out at Riley's impulsiveness, the leak a wound that festered anew. It ended in silence, Riley storming off into the night, leaving Anna adrift in the wind-whipped heights. She wandered the streets alone, neon signs blurring through tears, past couples entwined in doorways who seemed to mock her solitude. Dawn found her at the High Line, elevated tracks turned park where wildflowers pushed through concrete, a testament to persistence she desperately needed. A call to her sister, Lila, older, wiser, a therapist in Portland with a laugh like summer rain, became the lifeline. You're healing, Anna. Betrayal, even self-inflicted, stirs the silt. Let it settle. Lila's words echoed as Anna returned to the apartment, finding it empty. A note on the counter, need space to breathe. Back when I can look at you without seeing the hurt I caused. Love. R. The days stretched into a week of aching void, Anna throwing herself into work with a ferocity that bordered on frenzy. Meetings blurred. Code reviews became escapes. But the quiet hours gnawed. Replays of Riley's laugh. The way her brow furrowed over puzzles. The vulnerability in her post-love whispers. Ethan checked in. Lunches at his new loft in Tribeca where he shared stories of his own unraveling. A first date gone gloriously awkward. The relief of authenticity. Grief's a thief. But it leaves room for better thieves, he joked. And Anna laughed. Truly. For the first time in days. Riley returned on a rainy Thursday, soaked to the bone, standing in the doorway like a drowned selkie. I went to the bridge, she said, water pooling at her feet. Sat where we did. Realized running fixes nothing. Anna crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling her inside. Towels and tea following in a flurry of care. They talked until exhaustion claimed them. Not as adversaries but as equals. Unpacking the leak's fallout. Riley's guilt over Ethan's collateral pain. Anna's terror of vulnerability in a world that devoured the exposed. We build safeguards, Anna proposed. Therapy. Boundaries. A pact to call bullshit on each other's fears. Nights reforged them. Intimacy a bridge rebuilt plank by plank. Riley's hands were surer now. Tracing scars both seen and unseen, the faint line from a childhood fall in Vermont woods. The deeper ones etched by years of suppression. Anna reciprocated, kissing the tattoo on Riley's ribcage. A compass rose inked after her parents' rejection, pointing always toward true north. Their lovemaking was a conversation without words. Bodies dialoguing in sighs and shifts, culminating in shared release that left them boneless. Bound. Publicly. They navigated the glare with grace. Joint interviews where Riley's candor balanced Anna's poise. Op-eds on queer excellence in tech that amassed a following of young dreamers. Privately. Fractures mended slowly. Trust a garden tended with patience. One evening. Over dinner at a bistro in the East Village. Candlelight flickering on brick walls. Plates of gnocchi steaming between them. Riley slid a small box across the table. Inside. 2 silver rings. Simple bands engraved with coordinates. The Brooklyn Bridge's heart. Not marriage, Riley clarified. Eyes shimmering. A promise. To show up. Messy and all. Anna slipped hers on. The metal cool against her skin. A weight that grounded rather than confined. Yes, she breathed. And sealed it with a kiss that tasted of future. But peace is fleeting in lives built on ambition's edge. Whispers of a boardroom coup surfaced, old guard resentful of the distraction, plotting to oust Anna in favor of a safer bet. The threat loomed. A storm cloud over their fragile calm, forcing Anna to confront if her reclaimed heart could withstand another siege. The coup brewed in the undercurrents of Harrington tech. A serpent coiling in the boardroom's polished depths. Victor Lang, a silver-haired relic from the company's startup days, led the charge, his emails leaked by a sympathetic intern, laced with barbs about personal scandals undermining shareholder trust. Anna read them in the dim glow of her desk lamp, the words blurring into a litany of her perceived sins, the divorce, the affair. The audacity of loving openly while steering the ship. Riley found her there at midnight. Head in hands. The office a tomb of flickering screens. We fight, Riley said, perching on the desk's edge. Her presence a spark in the gloom. But Anna's fire had dimmed, eroded by the relentless grind of exposure. What if they're right? What if I'm the liability now? The doubt festered, manifesting in sleepless nights and snapped words over breakfast, Riley's optimism clashing with Anna's spiraling cynicism. Their haven, once a sanctuary of shared dreams, cracked under the strain, dinners cooling untouched, touches rebuffed in exhaustion's name. Riley retreated to her sketches, doodling neural networks that mimicked human connection while their own frayed. Anna buried herself in depositions and defense strategies, consulting lawyers whose fees rivaled small fortunes. But the isolation gnawed, an echo of the loneliness she had fled. Ethan became an unlikely ally, his new life a model of reinvention, dating freely, launching a podcast on queer entrepreneurship that featured Riley as guest, drawing listeners who cheered their story. You're not alone in this ring, he told her over whiskey in his loft, the city's pulse thrumming below. Punch back with truth. It's your best weapon. Inspired, Anna rallied, drafting a manifesto of sorts, a company-wide address streamed live, where she laid bare the vulnerabilities that had forged her strength. Riley scripted the visuals, animations of code evolving into diverse faces, a metaphor for inclusive innovation. The broadcast went viral, shares spiking as allies mobilized. But Victor struck first, calling an emergency vote to sideline her. The confrontation unfolded in the boardroom's amphitheater, air thick with cologne and concealed daggers. Victor rose, voice gravelly with feigned concern. Anna, your personal choices have invited chaos. For the good of Harrington. Step aside. Murmurs of agreement rippled. But Anna stood, Riley's hand a secret anchor under the table. Personal choices, she countered, voice steel wrapped in silk. You mean the authenticity that tripled our valuation? The diversity hires that outpaced competitors? Victor, your stability is stagnation. I built this with ideas, not illusions. The room held its breath as Riley projected data, metrics tying her strategies to every win, graphs blooming like evidence of resurrection. Doubts cracked, votes shifting like tectonic plates. Victor's face purpled, but the motion failed. 7-5. Anna retaining her throne barely. Victory tasted bittersweet, adrenaline crashing into catharsis. That night, they celebrated quietly in the apartment. Takeout tie spread on the rug, a bottle of Sancerre flowing freely. Riley's laughter peeled away the day's armor, and Anna pulled her close, kisses deepening into a hunger born of survival. They made love on the floor, urgent and unhurried, bodies slick with sweat and relief. Riley's moans a symphony against Anna's skin. We're unbreakable, she gasped. And Anna believed it. Fingers digging into hips as waves crested, binding them tighter. But triumph unearthed deeper wounds. Anna's therapy sessions, mandated by the board but embraced, delved into childhood fractures, a mother's early death from cancer, leaving her and Lila to a father whose love was conditional on achievement. Emotions dismissed as distractions. You equated vulnerability with loss, her therapist noted. And Anna saw it mirrored in her hesitance to fully yield to Riley. Always one step from flight. Riley grappled too, her own sessions revealing the leak as catharsis laced with control, a bid to force change when patience failed. I wanted to save you, she admitted one evening, curled on the couch with mugs of chamomile. But I nearly lost us. Forgiveness flowed in increments, weekend getaways to the Hudson Valley, where they hiked trails carpeted in fallen leaves, hands linked against the chill, sharing silences that spoke volumes. In a roadside diner, over pancakes sticky with maple, Riley proposed a ritual, weekly truth circles, no-holds-barred talks to air grievances before they festered. Anna agreed. The practice a bomb, their bond deepening through raw honesty, Riley's fear of abandonment, Anna's terror of unworthiness. Professionally, the tide turned decisively. Harrington Tech's Authenticity Initiative, co-led by Anna and Riley, garnered awards. Fast Company's Innovator of the Year, a White House invite for queer tech leaders. Public adoration swelled. But so did scrutiny, trolls online spewing vitriol that Anna scrolled through in weak moments, each slur a echo of internalized shame. Riley countered with armor of her own, a tattoo session in a Williamsburg parlor, adding a lock to her compass rose, symbolizing the key Anna held. Their love evolved, a tapestry of tenderness and tempest. Mornings brought lazy explorations, Anna's lips charting the freckles on Riley's back like a map to buried treasure. Afternoons. Collaborative fervor in the office. Ideas sparking like synapses. Evenings wove domesticity with desire. Cooking classes where flower fights led to flower-dusted trysts against counters. Movie nights dissolving into slow dances in the living room. Bodies swaying to Nina Simone's husky pleas. Yet, as winter blanketed the city in snow, a new shadow emerged, not from foes, but from within Riley. A doctor's visit, prompted by persistent fatigue, revealed burnout's toll. Adrenal exhaustion. The body's revolt against years of relentless drive. I pushed too hard, Riley confessed. Voice small in the sterile exam room. To prove I was worth it. Worth you. Anna's heart clenched. Irony bitter. Once the architect of suppression, now the healer. She cleared Riley's schedule, enforcing rest with the same tenacity she applied to deals. They retreated to the Vermont cabin for a month, snowdrifts muffling the world. Days spent in flannel and fireside reads, Anna devouring Audre Lorde's essays on erotic power, Riley sketching prototypes in journals bound with leather. Nights were sanctuaries of care, Anna massaging oil into Riley's tense shoulders, kisses trailing like comets, their union a gentle reclamation, bodies moving in syncopated grace, climaxes whispered secrets shared in the afterglow. Healing rippled outward. Back in the city, Riley mentored interns from marginalized backgrounds, her vulnerability a beacon. Anna lobbied for inclusive policies, testifying in Albany on tech equity. Their story inspired a documentary pitch from Sundance Scouts, a chance to reclaim the narrative on their terms. But equilibrium is illusion. As spring thawed the parks, Victor resurfaced, not with votes but venom, a lawsuit alleging fiduciary breach, claiming the leak cost millions. The gauntlet thrown. Anna braced for war. Riley at her side. Their love the unyielding ground from which they would rise or fall. The lawsuit landed like a grenade in their carefully tended garden, shrapnel embedding in every facet of life. Victor's filing room painted Anna as the villain. Reckless disclosure of proprietary intimacies that eroded investor confidence. Demands for damages that could cripple Harrington Tech. Reporters camped outside their building, flashes popping like gunfire, turning mundane errands into gauntlets. Anna fielded calls from panicked stakeholders while Riley fortified their home into a bunker, curtains drawn. Takeout only. A security consult on speed dial. Nights became battlegrounds of their own. Sleep elusive as Anna paced the loft, dissecting filings under lamplight, her mind a whirlwind of hypotheticals. Riley tried to anchor her, arms around waists in the kitchen, foreheads pressed in silent solidarity, but tension simmered, words sharpening into barbs. "You're obsessing," Riley snapped one evening, slamming a cabinet after Anna waved off dinner. "This isn't just about the company. It's about proving you're untouchable." Anna recoiled, the accusation landing true. "And you're what? The saint who exposed us for love? This mess is on both of us." The fight escalated, voices echoing off exposed brick, hurts unearthed like landmines, Riley's resentment at being cast as the other woman in media spin, Anna's frustration at Riley's fix-it impulses that always veered toward disruption. It culminated in Riley grabbing her coat, door slamming like a guillotine. "I need air," she hurled over her shoulder, leaving Anna in a silence louder than thunder. Alone, Anna crumbled, sinking to the floor amid scattered papers, sobs racking her frame. The vulnerability terrified her, love as liability, Success a shackle. She called Lila at 2 a.m., voice muffled by tears. I'm losing her. Losing everything. Lila's counsel was steady. Lean into the fear. Sis. It's the map to what you want. Dawn brought fragile olive branches. A text from Riley walking the bridge. Come find me? Anna did. Hailing a cab through pre-dawn hush. Arriving as the sun gilded the cables. Riley waited midway. Bundled in wool. Eyes red from her own vigil. No words at first, just embrace. The river's murmur a underscore to their reconciliation. I'm scared too, Riley admitted. Voice cracking. Of being the villain in your story. You're the hero, Anna whispered. Pulling back to cup Riley's face. Thumbs brushing chilled cheeks. We both are. Messy. Flawed. But fighting for us. They walked back entwined. Plotting over coffee at a 24-hour diner. A countersuit for defamation. Public campaigns framing the suit as homophobic backlash. Lawyers convened in war rooms of mahogany and monitors. Strategies unfolding like chess. Anna testified first. Voice unwavering under fluorescent glare. Recounting the leak not as sabotage but salvation. The company stronger for its truths. Riley followed. Her testimony a masterclass in poise. Data visualizations proving the scandal's boost to brand loyalty. Metrics that turned distraction into dividend. The courtroom became theater. Victor's bluster crumbling under cross-examination. His motives exposed as sour grapes from past promotions. Allies testified. Ethan on their partnership's evolution. Interns on Riley's mentorship. Even a rival CEO praising Anna's resilience. Media coverage shifted. Op-eds decrying queer phobia in the C-suite. Petitions amassing signatures that pressured Victor's backers to fold. Victory came swift. A settlement dismissing claims with prejudice. A quiet donation to LGBTQ causes from Victor's pocket. Champagne corks popped in the apartment that night. Friends toasting amid laughter that healed old hurts. Ethan raised a glass. To Queens. In all senses. Riley and Anna danced in the corner. Slow and close. The cities hum a lullaby. But elation ebbed into introspection. The ordeal unearthed Anna's core wound. The belief that love demanded sacrifice of self. In therapy, she journaled letters to her younger self, promises of permission to feel, to falter. Riley joined group sessions for queer couples, their dynamic enriched by shared vulnerability. Arguments now avenues to deeper connection. Summer arrived with balmy breaths, their life blooming anew. They escaped to Fire Island, a ferry ride to dunes and boardwalks where rainbow flags fluttered like freedom's claimed. Days blurred in sun-soaked idyll, volleyball on beaches fringed with sea grass, bodies glistening, laughter mingling with waves, evenings at beachside bars, hands under tables, eyes promising more. Their cottage, rented from a playwright friend, was a nook of weathered shingles and gauzy curtains. Bedsheets rumpled from nights of fervent rediscovery, Riley's tongue tracing lazy patterns on Anna's thighs, eliciting shudders that built to symphonies of release. Anna reciprocating with fingers that knew every secret hollow, their cries swallowed by the ocean's roar. One twilight, as stars pricked the indigo sky, Riley led Anna to the shore, toes sinking in cool sand. Marry me, she said. Not with rings but intention. Voice steady as tide. Not for show. For us. Vows in the woods. Witnesses optional. Anna's yes was a sob of joy, sealed with salt-kissed lips. Planning wove whimsy into routine. invitations etched on recycled paper, a Vermont officiant who was a folk singer, playlists of Joni Mitchell and Brandi Carlile. The ceremony, small and sacred under maple canopies ablaze with fall preview, bound them in words woven from their journey, promises to witness shadows, to celebrate light. Honeymoon called them west, to Oregon's coast, where cliffs met Pacific fury, cabins perched like sentinels, trails wound through fern-choked forests, hands clasped against mist, revelations shared over campfires. Riley's dream of a tech non-profit for rural queer youth, Anna's vision of sabbaticals for burned-out execs, nights in king-sized quilts, love making a ritual of reverence, slow circles of hips, breath synced, climaxes crashing like waves, leaving them driftwood tangled and sated. Back in the city, marriage was a quiet revolution. Anna delegated more, carving space for board yoga and pottery classes where clay yielded to her hands like Riley's body. Riley launched the nonprofit, Code and Kin, drawing donors with pitches laced with passion. Their home evolved, bookshelves groaning under queer lit, walls hung with Riley's abstracts, swirls of color evoking emotional tempests tamed. Yet, as leaves turn, a whisper of discord, Anna's promotion to sole CEO, Ethan stepping back for his ventures, thrust her into solitude's spotlight. Board pressures mounted, late nights resuming, distance creeping between them. Riley felt it first, the chasm of unspoken strain. "We vowed presence," she confronted gently over wine. And Anna nodded, recommitting with date nights enforced like deadlines. The real test came unbidden. Riley's ex, Jordan, a sculptor from Austin days, charismatic and chaotic, reappeared via email, inviting collaboration on an art tech exhibit. Flirtation laced the lines, a ghost of old flames. Anna discovered it accidentally. Browser history of betrayal, jealousy flaring like dry tinder. Confrontation stormed in the living room, voices rising. "It's nothing," Riley insisted, hurt by the doubt. "Just work." Anna's retort cut deep. "Trust is earned in the dark, not assumed." The fight unearthed insecurities, Riley's fear of inadequacy, Anna's echo of past deceptions. Resolution dawned in vulnerability, Riley deleting threads, inviting Anna to the exhibit pitch, Anna admitting her terror of loss. They attended together, Jordan's charm diffused by their united front, the project greenlit as a family affair. Winter deepened their roots, holidays shared with Lila and Ethan's clan in a Chicago brownstone, tables laden with pierogies and stories. Anna's father's absence loomed softer now, toasts to his memory laced with grace. But spring heralded the climax, a whistleblower within Harrington, alleging data privacy lapses tied to Riley's early algorithms. The accusation struck at their core, threatening the nonprofit and Anna's legacy. As investigations loomed, Anna faced the abyss, defend the empire, or risk it all for truth once more. The whistleblower's claim detonated like a fault line under their foundation, seismic waves cracking the veneer of stability Anna and Riley had so painstakingly rebuilt. An anonymous email to the FTC detailed flaws in Voss algorithms, alleging backdoors that harvested user emotions for profit, twisted echoes of Riley's empathy-driven code, weaponized by a disgruntled coder seeking revenge for a demotion. News trucks idled outside their building by noon, anchors speculating on Harrington's house of cards, dredging up the gala scandal as prelude to perfidy. Anna's world narrowed to war rooms, lawyers poring over code audits, PR spinning narratives of integrity, her days a blur of depositions and denials. Riley, the named architect, withdrew into silence, poring over her old notebooks in the home office, face pale as winter moon. I swear, Anna, it's not possible, she murmured nights when sleep evaded, body rigid beside Anna's in bed. Once a refuge, felt tentative now. Anna's hand on Riley's back met with flinches. Not the melt of old. Doubt crept insidious. A fog Anna couldn't dispel. Was it sabotage? Or oversight born of brilliance unchecked? Memories resurfaced. Riley's all-nighters. Coffee-fueled epiphanies that Anna had praised without probing depths. Guilt gnawed. Had her love blinded her to risks? The board hovered. Contingency plans whispered. Riley's resignation as scapegoat. Confrontation brewed over a dinner gone cold. Thai basil chicken congealing on plates. Do you believe me? Riley's voice was raw. Eyes searching Anna's like a lighthouse in storm. Anna hesitated. A heartbeat too long and the dam broke. I want to. I do. But the evidence. Riley recoiled as if slapped. Chair scraping back. Evidence? After everything. You question me. Tears streaked her face. Voice rising to a wail. I leaked the video to free us. Not destroy us. And now this. The argument raged. Furniture rearranged by flung words. Riley accusing Anna of prioritizing empire over us. Anna lashing at Riley's past recklessness. It peaked with Riley's ultimatum. Choose me or the machine. She stormed to the guest room. Door locking with finality. Leaving Anna adrift in the living room's chill. Sobs echoing off walls that suddenly felt alien. Dawn brought regret's hangover. Anna slipping notes under the door. Apologies scrawled in haste. Please for talk. Riley emerged hollow-eyed. Duffel half-packed. I need distance. Portland. To clear my head. For the nonprofit's sake too. Anna begged. But Riley's resolve held. A cab whisking her away amid Anna's futile chase down the street. Rain mingling with tears. Solitude amplified the siege. Investigations dragged. Subpoenas piling like indictments. Anna testified solo. Voice steady but soul frayed. Recounting Riley's genius as salvation. Not sin. Allies rallied. Ethan's podcast episodes dissecting corporate witch hunts. Lila flying in for pep talks laced with wine. But nights were voids. Bed vast and cold. Anna clutching Riley's pillow to stave off the ache. Weeks blurred into a limbo of legal limbo. The whistleblower unmasked as a bitter ex-employee with fabricated logs. Audits cleared Riley. The backdoors debunked as sloppy code from a junior dev long fired. Vindication arrived via press release. Stocks rebounding. But joy eluded. Anna drove to Portland unannounced. Heart hammering as she navigated rain-slick streets to Riley's borrowed bungalow. Ferns dripping in the yard like wept regrets. Riley answered the door in sweatpants. Hair tousled. Surprise softening to sorrow. You came. No anger. Just exhaustion. They talked on the porch swing. Words tumbling. Anna's confession of fear-driven doubt. Riley's admission of overwork masking insecurity. I ran because I couldn't bear being the fracture, Riley whispered. I choose you, Anna vowed. Hand extended. Always. The machine can wait. Reunion unfolded gently. Nights in the bungalow's alcove bed. Bodies rediscovering rhythms, kisses tentative at first. Building to fervent claims. Riley's gasps against Anna's neck a litany of forgiveness. Mornings brought walks along the Willamette. Hands linked. Plans sketched for balance. Shared sabbaticals. Therapy intensives. Return to New York was rebirth. The nonprofit thrived. Riley's cleared name a catalyst for funding. Programs launching in rural outposts where queer kids coded dreams into reality. Anna restructured Harrington, embedding ethics teams. Her leadership lauded in Forbes as compassionate capitalism. Their marriage, tested, emerged tempered. Intimacy reignited with intention. Tantric workshops in Brooklyn lofts, where breathwork wove them closer. Climaxes delayed into symphonies of sensation. Surprise getaways to Montauk. Dunes whispering secrets as they made love under stars. Sand gritting skin in exquisite friction. Publicly, they became icons, keynotes at Pride Tech Summits, where Anna spoke of love as innovation's core. Riley demoing AI that amplified marginalized voices. A book deal followed. Shadows to Code, a love story in algorithms. Their co-authored memoir blending memoir and manifesto. Bestseller lists conquered. But scars lingered, subtle as fault lines. Riley's trust mended slowly. Nightmares of accusation jolting her awake. Anna overcompensated with gestures, spa days. Custom jewelry etched with unbreakable. Therapy bridged gaps. Sessions where they role-played conflicts. Emerging with tools. Pause phrases to halt escalations. Gratitude jars filled with notes of small wonders. Autumn gifted milestones. Their first anniversary. Celebrated in Vermont with Lila officiating a vow renewal under harvest moon. Words reaffirmed amid falling leaves. Ethan's wedding to his gallery love. A joyful affair in Tribeca lofts where Anna and Riley danced as aunts to be. Toasts brimming with family forged. Yet, as snow dusted the city, a personal quake. Anna's fertility whisperings, long suppressed, surfaced in quiet talks. Kids, Riley ventured, eyes wide. Anna nodded, the dream of legacy beyond boardrooms stirring. Consultations with specialists followed. IVF a horizon of hope and hurdles, hormones fluctuating moods. Appointments threading tension. Riley stood steadfast, holding Anna through injection site bruises. Their love a steady pulse amid uncertainty. Positive tests came tentative. Then triumphant twins. Girls. Due in summer. Joy flooded. Tempered by fears. Motherhood's rewrite of self. The world's cruelties for queer parents. Preparations wove wonder. Nursery painted in soft sages. Bookshelves stocked with tales of fierce families. Riley's nonprofit expanded to parenting resources. Anna advocating for parental leave reforms. Their bodies shifted. Anna's swell a landscape Riley mapped with reverent hands. Nights of adapted intimacies. Oral explorations yielding gasps that built to shared peaks. Connection unbroken. Spring bloomed with belly kicks and baby showers. Friends gifting onesies emblazoned with circuits and sonnets. But labor's approach unearthed Anna's primal terror. Loss. Like her mother's. Riley soothed with stories. Her own fears voiced, adequacy as parent. The cycle of abandonment broken. Delivery day dawned stormy. Hospital rooms a whirlwind of beeps and breaths. Twins arrived wailing, Eloise and Sage. Pink and perfect. Anna held them first. Tears salting tiny brows. Riley's kiss a seal on the miracle. Fatherhood for Ethan as donor uncle. A circle complete. Parenthood reshaped them. Sleepless hazes of feeds and folds. Laughter and midnight changes. Love multiplying exponential. Anna stepped back from CEO duties. A co-lead installed. Her days now hybrid of board oversight and lullabies. Riley balanced nonprofit with naps. Their home a chorus of coos and code. Yet, in quiet moments, Anna pondered the arc. From perfect wife to imperfect mother. The leak a catalyst for this fullness. Riley echoed it one evening. Twins slumbering between. We leaked truth. And it set us free. Summer sweltered with park picnics. The family a tableau of tangled limbs and tiny triumphs. But as leaves hinted turn. A letter arrived, Victor. Reformed in retirement. Apologizing for scars inflicted. Enclosing a donation. Forgiveness, Anna realized, was the final layer of healing. Their story, once scandal, now legend, a TED Talk on resilient love. Audiences weeping. Anna and Riley, hands clasped, knew the truth deeper. No end to the journey. Just endless chapters of choosing each other. Again and again. The twins' first year unfolded like a fever dream of firsts. Eloise's gummy grin at 3 months. Sage's determined crawl across the nursery rug at 7. Both girls a whirlwind of curiosity that mirrored their mother's own. Anna and Riley navigated the chaos with a choreography born of trial and tandem nights tag-teaming bottles while debating nursery rhymes versus neural nets. Mornings of fortified coffee and coordinated outfits. The loft transformed into a fortress of soft blockers and sensory toys. Love deepened in the detritus. Riley's lullabies. Husky Texan drawl weaving tales of cowgirls coding stars. Anna's bedtime stories. Voices modulating through boardroom barbs to gentle cadences of acceptance. Professionally, equilibrium held fragile. Anna's semi-retreat from Harrington allowed Riley's nonprofit to flourish. Code and kin partnering with schools in underserved pockets, Montana reservations, Louisiana bayous, equipping queer and low-income youth with laptops and lessons in digital dignity. Grants poured in. Riley jetting for keynotes. Her absence a Holowana filled with park stroller loops. The city's pulse a counterpoint to domestic rhythm. But cracks spiderwebbed under pressure. Anna's return to full duties clashed with toddler tantrums. Board meetings bleeding into bedtime battles. Resentment simmered. Riley snapping at Anna's late arrivals. They ask for you. Not the title. Anna retorting with exhaustion's edge. This pays for the life we dreamed. Fights flared domestic. Diapers versus deadlines, old patterns resurfacing. Trust tested by time's theft. Therapy became triage. Sessions squeezed between feedings. But Lila's visit mid-year cracked the facade. Over brunch in a sun-dappled cafe. Sisters dissected the drift. Motherhood amplifies shadows, Lila observed. You're grieving the us before them. Anna wept into her mimosa. The admission a release. The erotic ease of pre-baby nights. The unhurried adventures. Now footnotes to fevered schedules. Riley echoed in joint counseling. Her burnout's ghost stirring anew. I feel like the support act, she confessed. Holding the fort while you conquer. The therapist prescribed recalibration. Date nights outsourced to Ethan's capable hands. A nanny share with a queer couple from the building. Implementation stuttered. Cancellations for colic. Guilt gnawing at separations, but persistence paid. Their first night out. At a jazz den in Harlem. Hands rediscovering across linen. Led to a hotel room tryst, urgent. Affirming. Bodies reclaiming space. Riley's fingers coaxing cries from Anna that echoed old freedoms. Release a reminder of enduring flame. Public life intruded gently. A New Yorker profile on their family. The codebreakers' love. Legacy. And little ones. Photos of twins gnawing board books amid server farms. Adoration swelled. But so did envy. Trolls questioning Riley's mommy makeover. Anna's softened edge. They armored with community. Playgroups and queer co-ops, where stories swapped over sippy cups built solidarity. Summer sojourned them to Austin. Riley's roots a reckoning. Her parents, thawed by time and grandbaby photos, hosted tentatively a backyard barbecue where brisket bridged gaps. Apologies murmured over potato salad. We were scared, her father admitted, voice gruff. Riley's forgiveness flowed cautious. Anna witnessing the mending with twins on hips. Her own family ghosts quieter now. Fall brought professional pinnacle. Harrington's acquisition of Code and Kin, integrating nonprofit ethos into corporate core. Riley as VP of Ethical AI. Celebration gala loomed, ironic echo of the leak stage, but they approached arm in arm. Eloise and Sage with sitters. Gowns chosen for comfort over couture. The night shimmered. Speeches lauding their synergy. But midway, a familiar face, the whistleblower's shadow, now reformed advocate, approaching with olive branch. Conversation unearthed shared scars, his isolation mirroring Riley's early doubts, forging unexpected alliance. Anna watched, pride mingling with pang, the twins' absence a tug at her core. Post-gala, high on acclaim, they tumbled home to a quiet loft. Sitters departed, cribs silent. Impromptu dance in the kitchen. Wine loose limbs to Coltrane's croon. Escalated to countertop claims. Anna hoisted onto granite. Riley's mouth a map of hunger. Devouring with deliberate slowness. Climaxes crashing in tandem. Laughter bubbling through aftershocks. Winter wove coziness. Holiday lights strung across windows. Twins' first snowman in Central Park. Mittened hands in theirs. But January's chill carried challenge. Anna's diagnosis, thyroid imbalance from postpartum shifts. Fatigue a fog that frayed her fuse. Riley stepped up. Meal preps and midnight massages. But resentment reversed. Anna chafing at dependency. I'm not fragile. Clash crested over a spilled sippy cup. Milk pooling like accusation. Let me help, Riley pleaded. Anna's retort. I don't need saving. The fight unearthed core. Anna's fear of diminishment. Riley's echo of control issues. Resolution in raw talk. Dawn lit on the couch. Twins stirring nearby. Promises of equity. Medical leave embraced. Spring heralded renewal. Anna's health stabilized. Treatments a routine of pills and patience. Family expanded with Eloise's first word, Mama, pointed at both. A balm to bifurcated hearts. Vacations ventured bolder. Road trip to Oregon. Coastal campsites where twins chased waves. Nights in tinted intimacy. Stars overhead as Riley's whispers coaxed Anna's sighs. Connection unyielding. Back east. Tensions eased into tapestry. Anna mentored at Code and Kin. Her exec lens grounding Riley's visions. Riley guest lectured at Anna's alma mater. Vermont's greens evoking their origins. Their love, matured, manifested in micro-moments. Forehead kisses at drop-offs. Shared glances across playgrounds. Evenings of board games where laughter trumped losses. Yet, as twins toddled toward twos, a specter stirred. Riley's wanderlust. Whispers of sabbatical in Montana's big skies. Space to breathe beyond city's crush. Anna's anchor pulled taut. We just found balance. Sparking talks of compromise. A family cabin purchase. Seasonal escapes. The decision crystallized over summer solstice picnic. Hudson banks lush with fireflies. We evolved together, Riley toasted. And Anna agreed. The future a shared sketch. Publicly, their narrative inspired a Netflix docuseries pitch. Unleashed, the Harrington-Voss saga. Filming commenced amid chaos of sippy cups on set. Vulnerability raw. They shared the leak's legacy. Twins cameoed with chaotic charm. But filming unearthed buried Riley's on-camera confession of leak's recklessness, Anna's off-script tears over lost years. Post-rap. Decompression in the cabin, Wood's whispering wisdom. Twins napping as they made love on quilts. Slow and sacred. Bodies a dialogue of devotion. Peaks plateaued into profound peace. Autumn's harvest brought closure. Victor's passing. Obituary noting quiet philanthropy. Anna attended the service alone, offering condolences to a widow who murmured, "He envied your fire. Forgiveness complete." Anna returned lighter, sharing the tale over cider with Riley. Twins tumbling in leaves. As winter loomed, Anna reflected, from CEO's wife to family's heart. The journey a helix of hurt and healing. Riley, sensing the introspection, gifted a journal for the chapters ahead, pages filled with visions, expanding family, global outreaches, love's layered deeper. Their story, no longer scandal but symphony, resonated. Fan letters from youth echoing early selves. Thanks for modeling messy grace. Anna and Riley, entwined on the couch, twins curled between, knew the truth. Perfection was myth. Presence the prize. Spring cycled anew. Eloise's birthday a bash of balloons and babble. Sage's precocious puzzles delighting. But in quiet, Anna pondered the arc's turn. A new venture. Joint consultancy for ethical empires. Freedom from single throne weight. Riley embraced it. Their partnership paramount. Love, once leaked in fury, now lived in fullness, touches tender. Talks timeless. Climaxes communal in afterbed whispers. Yet, as leaves flamed, a whisper of wonder. Riley's positive test. Surprise conception amid balanced chaos. Third child. A boy named River. Dew in bloom. Joy cascaded. Family expanding. Hearts holding more. The leak's echo faded to footnote. Truth's triumph total. Anna. Once perfect facade. Now perfectly human, loved. Loving. Alive. The arrival of River marked a crescendo in their symphony of selves. His birth a quiet storm in the dead of night. Anna and Riley tag-teaming through contractions in the loft's birthing corner. Midwife's calm voice anchoring the frenzy. He emerged with Riley's hazel eyes and Anna's determined cry. A tiny bridge between them. Swaddled in blankets knit by Lila. The loft? Once a stage for scandals. Now hummed with newborn gurgles mingling with the twins' exploratory babbles. A chorus that drowned out old doubts. Motherhood tripled layered their days. Shifts of nursing and naps. Anna's breast pump syncing with conference calls. Riley's laptop balanced on knee during story time. Chaos charmed. River's midnight wails cueing tandem dances. Eloise helping with diapers and gleeful smears. Sage stacking blocks into prototypes. Laughter leavened the load. Ethan's visits a whirlwind of uncle antics. Spoiling with gadgets and goofy songs. Professionally, the consultancy bloomed. Voss Harrington Ethics. A boutique firm auditing AI for equity. Clients from Silicon Valley to Seattle startups. They worked from a home annex. Glass walls overlooking the park. Flexibility a foundation, mornings of meetings. Afternoons of park romps. Evenings of collabs over takeout. Success scaled softly, key contracts. Keynotes traded. Their book's sequel in gestation. Truth multiplied. Family. Code. And coming alive. Intimacy adapted. A river rerouted around rocks. Stolen showers turning steamy. Riley's hands soaping Anna's curves with lingering intent. Quickies in laundry nooks yielding hushed climaxes. Full nights rare but resplendent. Babies boarded with Ethan. Bodies reunited in hotel hush. Explorations extended. Riley's tongue a patient poet on Anna's folds. Building to quaking release. Reciprocated in 69 symphonies that left them breathless. Bonded. Challenges cycled. Sleep regressions fraying fuses. River's colic echoing old colics. But tools tempered. Pause jars filled with prompts for breath. Date rituals enforced. Therapy evolved to family. Twins finger painting fears. Words weaving wholeness. Roots deepened. Annual Vermont pilgrimages. Cabin now cluttered with cribs. Fireside tales tracing their tale for tiny ears. Austin reunions warmed further. Riley's parents cooing over grandkids. Bridges built in baby steps. Lila's partnership announced. A wedding in Portland Gardens where Anna officiated. Vows mirroring their own. Public footprint grew gentle. Docuseries premiered to acclaim. Sundance standing ovations. Streams surging with viewers mirroring their milestones. Backlash lingered. Online barbs on queer perfection. But they countered with candor. Social posts of messy mornings. Mantras of progress. Not polish. Summer solstice circled to Austin Festival. Family in tow. Twins chasing fireflies as Riley and Anna renewed under live oaks. Words whispered. Through leaks and lullabies. I choose you. Dance followed. Bodies close amid twangy tunes. Heat building to motel mischief. Love making a hoedown of hips and hallelujahs. Fall's forge brought friction. A client crisis. Biased algo exposed. Demanding all-nighters that echoed early empires. Anna dove deep. Riley reined her. We're team now. Not titans alone. Balance brokered. Crisis cracked. Victory shared over victory pie. Twin smearing faces in crust. Winter's hush gifted gestation. Anna's second book solo. Unscripted. A mother's manifesto. Pages pouring vulnerabilities, widowhood's shadow. Wifehood's weight. Motherhood's miracle. Riley beta read. Edits laced with love notes. Release a ripple of resonance. Readings packed with parents nodding through tears. Spring surged with River's rolls. Eloise's essays on Mama Strong. Sage's circuit sparking. Consultancy crested. UN consult on global ethics. Riley jetting to Geneva. Anna holding fort with video cameos. Distance attest aced in daily dispatches. Photos of pudgy fists. Voice memos of vows. Return reunion roared. Airport embrace amid baggage claim bustle. Homeward haste to hammock hangs. Bodies bunkered in bedroom bliss. Riley's return a ravishing, fingers familiar. Mouths mapping months missed. Peaks pulsing in prolonged passion. Afterglows affirming absences ache. Milestones mounted. Twins preschool plunge. Tear-streaked goodbyes melting to pride. River's first steps. Wobbly toward waiting arms. Anniversaries accumulated. Third with Ethiopian feast. Fourth in Fire Island dunes. Each a etching of endurance. Yet, in summer's swell. A subtle shift. Anna's whisper of wonder. Sabbatical dreams to Montana's meadows. Space for souls beyond screens. Riley mirrored. Let's leap. Cabin swapped for ranch. Family freighted west. Skies vast as visions. Montana mended. Days of dirt-smudged discoveries. Twins taming ponies. River riveted by rivers. Nights under Big Dipper. Quilts on porches. Love unfettered. Starlit seductions. Riley's caresses cascading constellations on skin. Climaxes cosmic. Connections celestial. Return refreshed. Consultancy rebranded remote hybrid. Lives laced with latitude. Public persona peaked. Obama Foundation Fellowship. Joint honor for human-centered tech. Gala in D.C. Where they danced in spotlight. Twins FaceTiming cheers. Fall's fade brought final flourish. Book tour tandem. Coasts connected by stories shared. Audiences absorbing arcs of awakening. Back home. Harvest of Hearts. Eloise's poem on two moms. One love, framed forever. As winter waned, Anna surveyed the sprawl, from bridge-born blaze to family's bloom. The Lika spark that lit legacies. Riley. Rocking River. Echoed. Truths are truest tech. Their tale. Told in touches and tomes. Lingered as legend. Not perfect, but profoundly theirs. In the loft's lamplight. Hands entwine. They dreamed on expanses endless. Love the constant code.